If that were Elena Kagan and her staffer were being paid, it would have been Alex Jones. Look at this. This is a secret code. See, Christmas party. Yeah, that's code for pedo stuff. For child trafficking Christmas party. That's it right there. Says it right there. It's right here in the text, people. Supreme Court, Groft versus DeJoy, decision on religious accommodations means for employees. So, um, the Supreme Court decided unanimously that religious people get extra rules, extra rights. They get to break the rules and just be extra special because they have very strong beliefs. And we have to all respect those very strong beliefs that are about magic, basically. Uh, the Supreme Court on Thursday made it easier for employees to obtain religious accommodations at their workplace. Now, I'm okay with the idea of like, hey, this is a religious holiday, I'd like it off, or something along those lines. That's fine. Forcing by law companies to accommodate those leads to future discrimination. Okay? So, the court used the case of a former postal worker to make clear the employers cannot avoid meeting religious requests simply by arguing that it would cost them more than a de minimis or trivial amount. Employers instead should accommodate religious employees' requests unless doing so would result in a substantial increased costs. Small increased cost is acceptable to the business, according to the opinion from Justice Samuel Alito. So follow me here. Even if you agreed with Groff and you agreed with the Supreme Court that this guy should be able to get his Sundays off. Imagine you are the employer there. You're an employer. Somebody has said, hey, I'm religious. I cannot work Sundays. And even if you agree with them, what are you going to do as the employer? You're going to hire someone. And if you're hiring someone, you will do an interview, right? So if you're doing an interview for someone to fill in the slot on Sunday, you're going to ask them during the interview, can you work Sundays? Kind of obvious that you would ask that because that's what you need. Your business needs somebody right now to work on Sundays. So you're going to ask that of the person applying. You're going to ask them, can you work on Sundays? And if they say no, you're not going to hire them. I need somebody to work on Sundays. Do you work Sundays? The applicant says no. Thanks. No thanks. I'm not going to hire you. I have now discriminated them based on their religion. This choice by the Supreme Court leads to future discrimination. They're going to discriminate even more in the future. If your religion has you taking days off and that's protected by law, businesses are going to discriminate against it. And then the first person who doesn't get a job because he won't work on Sundays is going to sue that employer for discrimination. Republican policy is bad and shit and will make everything worse. That's my point. This is an increase in discrimination. I think the discriminative is the right word. I'm going to look up discriminative in the dictionary. Discriminative, consulting or particularly quality, trait, or difference. Characteristics are notable. Making distinctions, discriminating. So it's the same thing with the web designer case. It's going to allow people to discriminate based on religion for services as well. Absolutely. That's the next thing that I was thinking about. The imaginary case of the web designer. The web designer. This is a what if scenario. The Republican and conservative Supreme Court gets to just rule on things that are imaginary, that haven't happened yet. What if this happens? We get to do it. The Supreme Court conservative majorities ruled that Smith can refuse to work for same-sex couples. A Colorado web designer who in the U.S. Supreme Court ruled Friday could refuse to make wedding websites for gay couples cited a request from a man who says he's never asked to work with her. The It's imaginary. Smith never designed a wedding website, has never been asked, not even a web designer yet, and has been asked by no gay couples to do work for them. Yet she can get an entire Supreme Court hearing. She can get an entire case to the Supreme Court after having been harmed in no way, shape, or form. It's all imaginary. This is madness. This is the Supreme Court giving Christians more rights than anybody else. Everybody's equal, but Christians are more equal. And bad news, it's already happening. Here we go. Supreme Court's anti-LGBT ruling has already incited discrimination. Hooray. A Michigan hair salon says it will refuse to serve customers over their use of pronouns. Pronouns, man. Like, everybody has them, including you. Bigoted hair salon person has pronouns. An owner of a Michigan hair salon says the business will begin discriminating against LGBT people. They're just gonna. Just days after the Supreme Court legalizing discrimination against the community. Christine Geiger, the white woman, I'm sure, the owner of Studio 8 Hair Lab in Traverse City, said she is exercising her right to free speech by discriminating against specific customers. She's just gonna do it. If a human identifies as anything other than a man, woman, please seek services at a local pet groomer. You know, your pet groomer, because you're an animal. You are not welcome at this salon period. This is just the best. MAGA, baby. Yeah, let's make America great again. While the salon's Facebook page has been deleted and its Instagram profile has been set to private, that should not be mistaken as any remorse. Of course not. The business's Instagram bio reads, a private conservative business. See, now that's an interesting sentence. A private conservative business that does not cater to woke ideologies. They are intentionally and willingly segregating themselves. They want only conservative business. They want only conservative customers. They want only conservative money. They want only conservative states. They want only conservative towns. And they will probably very soon start to build such things and then draw lines. That's the next step, is dehumanizing people. And they're not in the in-group. That's right. This is an in-group and out-group thing. This person only wants to work with people within their in-group. In a comment, a community Facebook page, Geiger elaborated, I have no issue with LGB. It's the TQ that I'm not going to support. Okay, that's dumb. You're dumb. For those that don't know what the plus is, it's for MAP, minor attracted people, aka pedophile. No, that's not included within the plus. She continued lying. Great. Scores of other community members responded, noting that she was downright wrong. Okay, great. This is where we are going. This is where the Supreme Court is driving us. This is where the Republicans are sending us. This is where all the Maytags, the Marjorie Taylor Greens, the Lauren Boeberts, this is where they are sending us. This is where we are going. And they're the ones dragging us here. Geiger has said that she's not a slave to any narrative, but simply looking to make a stance on the issue. She has not responded to any of the individuals calling her ethical reasoning or factual premises, nor is she apparently bold enough to keep her social media pages public, despite claiming they're more than willing to take the first rounds or strikebacks. Okay, that's cool. I am admitting that since I am not willing to play the pronoun game or cater to requests outside of what I perceive as normal, this probably isn't the best option for that type of client. Just bad people get to be bad. Cool. Good job, Supreme Court. Keeping us safe, baby. So this is a spicy sentence, but here we go. uh, the white media has missed a key part of the affirmative action ruling. The upshot isn't that colleges must end affirmative action, but they'll have to cut back black enrollment to avoid lawsuits questioning their compliance with the decision. That's correct. So I think the important part right here, as a result of what the SCOTUS did to affirmative action, colleges and universities must now punish, I don't think they punish, black applicants by decreasing the enrollment of black students by any means necessary. That's because the only way universities can show compliance with Robert's new rules is to show that they've decreased the number of black kids they let into school. They have to discriminate to seem fair. Exactly. Republican policies are shit and always go wrong. If 20% of the people coming into the college was black kids and only 15% of the population within the community is black people, they are going to be sued by uh, white supremacists who have already promised to hunt down schools that admit too many black people, and as determined by their own white makes right accounting system. So, if any school has equal to or more black students next year than last year, they will be sued. That's insane. It's absolute madness. And I cannot even comprehend how this is a good idea. The college is going to have to intentionally and willingly discriminate and cut based on a person's race so that they don't get sued. This is insane. Republicans are shit. Republican policies are always shitty. They don't work. They make everything worse. They make everything worse. Republican policies, conservative policies, make everything worse. Lawyers with the Supreme Court business paid Clarence Thomas's aide via Venmo. You know, as you're supposed to do when you are doing very high-level lawyer stuff. Payments to Rajan Vashizit, an aide from 2019 to 2021, underscores ties between the justice and lawyers who argue cases in front of him. They're bribing people. Several lawyers who have had business before the Supreme Court, including one who successfully argued to end race consciousness admissions at universities, paid money to a top aide of Justice Clarence Thomas, according to the aide's Venmo transactions. The payment appears to have been made in connection to Thomas's 2019 Christmas party. Thomas has a Christmas party, and his aide gets paid by one of those people. The payments to Rajan, who served as Thomas's aide from July 2019, seem to underscore the close ties between Thomas, who is embroiled in ethics scandals, following a series of revelations about his relationship with a wealthy billionaire donor. His Venmo account, which was public prior to the requesting comment for the article, is no longer. Hey, what do you know? It's not public any longer. I wonder why. You guys shouldn't pick on him. Your dealer loves Venmo, so do traffickers. Ask Gates. Yeah, Venmo's a good thing. It's great. It's how I buy all my drugs. He received 7 payments in November and December from lawyers who previously served as Thomas's legal clerks. The amount of payment is not disclosed, but the purpose of each payment is listed as Christmas party, Thomas Christmas party, CT Christmas party, CT Xmas party, in an apparent reference to the judge's initials. Okay, so they're paying for the Christmas party. Unclear what the funds are for. If he were a Democrat, this would be turned by QAnon dorks into a child sex ring. I mean, we know that, right? Like, if that were Elena Kagan and her staffer were being paid, it would have been Alex Jones. Look at this. This is a secret code. Secret Christmas party. Yeah, that's code for pedo stuff. For child trafficking Christmas party. That's it right there. Says it right there. It's right here in the text, people. Child trafficked Christmas party. It's right here. They're telling you right out in the open. They don't even hide it anymore. The only way that this Illuminati magic works is if they tell it to you. So yeah, if this were a Democrat, this would be the child trafficked Christmas party. The silly should have used KBP crypto coins. Good call. Buy those crypto coins so that you can sell them to someone else later for more. Let's see. They made payments. None of the lawyers who made payments responded to emailed questions from the Guardian. They raised red flags. Yep. And there's no excuse for it. Thomas could invite them to the Christmas party, and he could attend Christmas parties as long as they are not discussing any cases. His Christmas party should not be paid for by lawyers. Exactly. A federal government employee collecting money from lawyers for any reason, I don't see how that works. A federal employee collecting money from lawyers. That's crooked. That's criminal. Even if it's for Christmas parties, that's just the loophole they use to pay the Supreme Court justice what they want, to get what they want. This is the central flaw in capitalism. That's the one I scream about every damn time. Every time we have a problem, every time I talk to a conservative, they complain and complain and complain. Government, government, government. The government's corrupt. The government's corrupt. What's corrupting them? Money from capitalists. That's all there is to it. It's almost like they should be held to some kind of ethical standards, almost like many of the lower court judges. Right, exactly. Oh, I've got an idea to reform the Supreme Court entirely. A lot of people are like, hey, force some ethics on them. Good idea. Or add 7 more seats, and Joe Biden could add 7 more seats, something along those lines. Term limits. All ideas, but I think there's a better one. Eliminate the Supreme Court as it stands. All 9 of those people, boop, gone. Retired. Thank you for service. Goodbye. The court one step lower has hundreds of judges. Every year, you pick 9 of those judges at random. They are the Supreme Court for that year, that 1 year. Then they go away, back down to where they were, or they can retire if they so feel like it. Then they go back down into the court 1 level below. And then the next year, 9 more get picked at random. And they go do their thing. It prevents this kind of all or nothing, 5 versus 4, a jury of their peers, of other judges. So if somebody does something wrong, somebody does something really bad, and obviously bad faith, it can be overturned the next year. I think this would make the most sense. So this pool of judges is hundreds large, and if it would be harder to rig that pool of hundreds. It would be much more difficult to rig than the 9 people we have now. The 5-4 decisions may still happen, but they would not be the same people making the same 5-4 decisions every single year over and over again for as long as they live, which is insane. Oh, hi. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button. Press the subscribe button. If you want to tell me how right I am, feel free to leave a comment. If you want to tell me how wrong I am, leave a comment too. That's good. This is just kind of a hobby for me, so I appreciate you coming by, giving it a watch, and pressing the YouTube buttons. Thanks.